we have the structure like this. So this is a typical structure, right? I'm putting the thickness also here of the floor. And here we have in the upstream, we have the sheet pile. And in the downstream, we have the sheet pile. This is the sheet pile in the downstream, right? And here is a gate. I mean, this is a gated structure, right? And this is the water level in the upstream. This is the pond level, you can say, once we are talking about the barrage. We have, say, this is the pond level. So this one is the water level. So we had discussed this part. We had discussed this part once there is a flow over the surface, right? And in the previous lecture, we had started discussing on the flow below the structure. So see here in the upstream, we have the pervious soil, right? Okay. In the downstream of this one also, okay. And since here, this is the permeable soil below this structure, may write here permeable soil. Then what happens that there will be flow below this structure also, and that flow will go like this, okay, will go like this, right? Sorry. Let me draw one more line here. Now, what we are interested here is, since we have to design this structure, right? This structure, and this structure that should be safe, this one, in general, that is of the RCC or this is of the plain concrete, right? This is of the plain concrete or the RCC, right? So we have to calculate here what is the uplift force that is acting on this below this structure, so that that can be balanced by the weight, or you see maybe the force that will be transferred to the abutment or the piers, right? I think we had discussed this part that if you are putting a piezometer, okay, if you are putting a piezometer, right? Here I am putting a piezometer, right? Then what happens that the water level that will rise here, and if you are putting this tip of this piezometer here, then this height is coming out to be h, and we are saying this one is a piezometric head. Okay, I'm getting a cross voice from you. Please mute. Please mute. Those who have not muted, please mute. So this is piezometric head, and we know that this piezometric head is P Z P by rho g, okay, plus V square by 2g, that will give the total energy. But here the flow that is governed by the Darcy law, okay, and in the Darcy law, the velocity that is very low, so V square by 2g is negligible. So you can say this is a piezometric head, or you can say this one is the total head. Okay, right. Now, if we know this H, right, below this structure, let us say we want to know here, okay, below this structure, if this H is known, because our concern is this, okay, let us say we want to know this H at this point, okay. This means that over this surface, below this surface, a force gamma W, I mean this is the gamma of the water, gamma WH that will act in the upward direction. Okay, so here we are interested to know what is the value of the H. How we can get the value of the H, this is our prime importance. I mean, if you can get the value of the H, okay, we can get what are the forces that is acting, okay, in the upward direction due to this seepage water, okay, right? So here we are interested to get the value of the H. How we can get it? For that, let us have some discussion. I think this is point is clear to you. Is it clear? If you have the flow in the three direction, means that you have, let us say, you have this is the velocity u in the x direction, and this one is, let us say, v in the y direction, and this is the w in the z direction. I mean, this is x, this is y, and this is z. Okay, then the flow that will exist. So for the existence of the flow, what would be the equation that we have to write? Could you tell me? In any flow field, whether you have the surface flow or the subsurface flow, at any point you have, this is the three velocities component u, v, and w, right? In the x, y, and z direction. Could you tell me for the existence of the flow, what would be the equation that we have to write? I'm not getting your voice. Yes. Am I audible to you? हाँ बताइए.
So del u by del x plus del v by del y plus del w by del z.
What is that equation? What is the name of that equation?
Steady flow equation.
No, this is a mass conservation equation, okay, or the conservation of mass. So whether you are talking about the conservation of mass, subsurface flow or the surface flow, that remains to be same, del u by del x plus del v by del y plus del z by del y, del z, sorry, del w by del z, that is equal to देखिए यार किसका. This is del w by del z is equal to 0, right? Now we are interested here to the two-dimensional flow. I mean, we are not interested in this particular case because right now our discussion that is limited to only the two-directional flow, right? Okay, the flow that is, I mean, the flow here that is in this direction and flow is in this direction. I mean the x, and let us say this one I am saying that is y. We are not right now concerned with this flow which is along this structure, right? Of course, in the middle of this structure, the flow that is truly two-dimensional, but near to the abutment, the flow is not two-dimensional, that is a three-dimensional. So that is a complex part that we are not discussing here. Our discussion that is limited to the 2D. So in that case, your this equation that reduced to del u by del x plus del v by del y, and that is equal to 0. And you know that by the Darcy law, u is equal to kx del h by del x, okay, and v is equal to ky. I mean, this is the hydraulic conductivity in the y direction, del h by del x, right? And once you substitute that one, you will get that kx is equal to del square h by del x square and plus del ky del square h by del x square is equal to 0. Let us assume in this particular case the hydraulic conductivity in the x and y direction that is same. So if that is same, in that case, what type of the soil that will be? Yes, please. If the hydraulic conductivity is same in the all the direction, then in that case, what would be the type of the soil? Any idea?
Isotropic.
Isotropic. What is your name?
Aniruddha Das.
Okay. You had responded first question also?
No, sir.
Who was that fellow?
Sahil.
Okay. So that is isotropic. So let us assume that the flow soil here is isotropic. Then we can solve this one as a del square h x square plus del square h by del y square. Sorry, here is a y square is equal to 0. And you know that this is a Laplace equation. This is Laplace equation. And if this equation can be solved, means that this, sorry, you know that now here h, this is a function of x and y. If you solve it, means that we can get this piezometric head at any value of the x and y, right? So we can solve by the some numerical technique, okay, but we are not going in that part here. So I'm not going here in the discussion of the numerical solution of this one, right? But I think you might have understood what we are discussing right now. So here we are interested to know what is the value of the h, okay, right? So that the uplift that can be computed, okay? Now we have to talk about what are the approaches for this. I mean, the previous investigators, how they have worked in this direction to get the value of the h, right? So in this direction, the first one is of the Bly, and that Bly theory we get in 1910, right? So we'll discuss the first the Bly, okay, creep theory. This is so-called the Bly creep theory. Then we'll discuss the Lane-Wetted creep theory. Then we'll talk about the Khosla method. These are the methods. Bly creep theory, that is of 1910, and this is of 1932. And the Khosla, the paper published in the CBIP, that is of 1936. And I think you are knowing that Khosla, he was the alumnus of our institute of 1910. Okay. So first, let us talk about the creep theory. And since I will share this slide to you, but let me explain here. Okay. Let us explain with the same diagram. Okay. And put with the different color and the thickness so that you can understand this. Right. Now, creep theory says that, Bly creep theory, the flow that is passing, okay, through the soil and creeping with the solid surface of the structure, means that the flow that will go like this, then this will creep. I mean, that is always remains to be a close to the surface, right? And again, that is going like this is going like this, and here then this is the downstream sheet pile that will go like this, right? Now the total length of the creep, that is L. So this is the total length of the creep, okay? And what is the head of the water here? I mean, if you set the head of the water in this particular case, in general, once we design the structure, we consider that there is no water in the downstream. This is your downstream. We presume that there is no water in the downstream because that will give us the worst condition, right? Okay. So your level is this, right? And water level in the upstream is this one. So you can say this is the H. this one is the head that is available, right? Okay, so you can say that per unit length, how much is the head that is dissipated? Okay, I mean, what is the hydraulic gradient here? So hydraulic gradient as per Bly, that will be just H by L. Okay, and this hydraulic gradient, okay, this remains to be same whether we are talking this point or we are talking this point or we are talking this point, where the flow that is going in the downstream, downward, or whether the flow going in the upward, whether the flow is in the air or the flow is in air. Okay, right? So this is just a length. So Bly did not differentiate between the vertical creep, okay, and also the vertical creep that is in the downward direction or the upward direction, with the horizontal creep. This is the horizontal creep, okay. So some structures that are designed, and in general, the small structures that are even today is designed using the Bly creep theory. Okay, but that is supplemented with the downstream sheet pile. Okay, this Bly did not give any concept of the downstream sheet pile. Okay, I will tell you why this is mandatory to have a downstream sheet pile or downstream cutoff, whatever you want to say. Okay, right? This is mandatory to provide a downstream cutoff, right? Okay, so we'll discuss that one part. So creep theory is this, okay? And based on that, I mean, the coefficient that is defined by Bly, that is so-called the Bly coefficient, creep coefficient, and that Bly creep coefficient that is equal to H by L. Okay, so let me tell you here. So you can see here the Bly creep coefficient that is equal to, here I have written HL. Okay, so this is C is equal to L by H. Okay, so HL is this, right? If you are reading the book of this S.K. Garg, so here is some correction, right? In the S.K. Garg, HL that is given only up to this point, that is wrong. So this HL is the complete right from here to here, because this is a horizontal flow, right? This is the horizontal flow. I have shown you a very practical profile, but this is just to demonstrate or to present this Bly creep theory. He had given this example, right? Now, for the piping that should not occur, right, and to get the uplift, Bly suggested this is the Bly creep coefficient. So if one take this Bly creep coefficient is equal to 15 plus fine sand, okay, then the piping or the uplift pressure, the piping will not occur, and the uplift pressure that can be computed accordingly. Coarse sand for 12, and for the sand mixed with the boulder and the gravel, that is from 5 to 9. Okay, for this particular problem, this is a very simple problem. You can see the creep length in this case, that will be equal to 2 times of the D1, 2 times of the D2, 2 times of the D3, and the horizontal length which is equal to B. So that is written here. Okay, it is clear now. But the point, that one I have discussed with you regarding the drawbacks or the concept that is not given by the Bly. Okay, he just assumed that the loss per unit length that remains to be same, whether that is in the upstream or in the downstream, or the flow that is going in the downward direction or the flow that is going in the upward direction. So have you understood this? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
लेकिन लेन ने इसको डिफरेंशिएट किया. लेन ने जो वर्टिकल क्रीप है उसका वेटेज अगर 1 दिया, तो हॉरिजॉन्टल क्रीप का जो वेटेज था वो 1/3 दिया. तो क्रीप लेंथ जो है लेन के केस में, वो आपकी ये आप इक्वेशन देख रहे हैं, इसमें जस्ट B/3 हो जाएगी लेन के केस में. तो यू कैन सी हियर, राइट? ये चीज तो मैं आपको बता चुका हूं, ये थिंग है ना, ये b/3 हो जाएगी, यानी इसका जो वेटेज था, जो हॉरिजॉन्टल क्रीप का वेटेज है, दैट इज 1/3 ओके ऑफ द वर्टिकल क्रीप. So that looks reasonable because in the horizontal, the easiness in the movement that will be, of course, less, and in the vertical that will be high. Okay, and that's why the Lane introduced this concept of the weighted, means that vertical creep is having a weightage unity. Okay, and this horizontal creep take the weightage of 1/3. This is the only difference between the Bly and the Lane weighted creep theory. Okay, I think this is very easy to understand, right? Okay. Now coming to the concept that is given by the Khosla, and I think you can go through the detailed about the N. Khosla because he's an icon. He was the icon of this Thomson College of Engineering, right? Graduated from here in 1910, right? And then joined. He was the vice chancellor of this institute also, and we have the Khosla hostel on the name of the scientist. Okay, and he was in the Punjab irrigation, right? And in 1936, right? I mean, a team come out with this paper, which is the design of wear on permeable foundations, right? Permeable foundation means the permeable soil, and that was by the A.N. Khosla, N.K. Bose, Taylor, and that is of the CBIP. CBIP is Central Board of Irrigation and Power of 1936. One thing more that I want to introduce to you, okay, I think I have to check. I have written 1916. I think this is 1910. इसको जरा आप check कर लेना भैया. मेरे जहां तक मुझे याद है 1910 है, ये 1916 जो है ये बाय मिस्टेक लिखा गया. Okay. One thing I want to tell you before Khosla, right? What happens that some structures that were designed on the basis of some, you see, some intuition or some experience, right? So there is a one weir, that is the Khanki weir. Khanki weir. This is on the Chenab River, right? And that is now in the Pakistan, okay? That is of the undivided Punjab, okay? Now, what happens in that Khanki weir is, since in the downstream there was no any sheet piles, okay? I mean, if you take, let me take this one is a, let us say this is the profile of the Khanki weir, okay? Let me, you see, make this profile, okay? And this one is a gate. This is the water level. Okay, this is not a true section of the Khanki weir. I just want to, you see, discuss this failure of this Khanki weir. Okay, right? Now, in this Khanki weir, there was no any sheet pile in the downstream. No sheet pile in the down. Okay, or the cutoff in the downstream. So what happens that the piping action that start from here and finally this structure failed, right? Just in 2-3 years that is completely failed, right? Then at that time, that is of the, I'm not recalling exact date. Let me just check it. I have in my record. This is of, yes. So this Khanki that was constructed in 1895, okay, and after the failure of this, right, the principal of this college, Thomson College of Engineering, Lieutenant General what is the name? Claiborne. Yes, Colonel. Sorry, Colonel Claiborne and his team did some experimentation here at Roorkee, right, to investigate the reason of the failure of this structure. Okay, but the result that is not documented, right? They tried, but the result that is not documented. And then later on, this the Bly and the Lane theory came, and finally in 1936, this Khosla theory, right? Now, what Khosla did is, or the team of this paper did is, virtually they solved this Laplace equation, right? This Laplace equation, they solved this Laplace equation through the sum transformation, right? They solved it. And it was very difficult to solve this one for a practical profile. I mean, this practical profile. I'm saying this one is a practical profile. हाँ, इसको मैं आपको प्रैक्टिकल प्रोफाइल कर रहा हूं, मैं इसको फिर से ड्रॉ कर रहा हूं जो प्रैक्टिकली प्रोफाइल होती है, यानी मैं इसकी बात कर रहा हूं, ये प्रैक्टिकल प्रोफाइल, राइट? It was very difficult to solve this Laplace equation for this practical profile. Okay, so there the first concept of this one was, right, of this Khosla and his team. Let me introduce a slide here. What I mean, their first problem was just a very thin floor. I mean, no thickness, right? A horizontal floor, no sheet pile in the upstream or the downstream, no thickness, right? This is just a horizontal floor, and then this is the, of course, the water level. That was the first problem they solve, right? I mean, the problem they solve for this Laplace equation, I mean, theoretical solution, right? Okay, but this problem did not give the you see the result of our practical profile. Okay, then what they did is they come out with the solution for the different configuration of the, you see the floor and the piles, I mean the sheet piles. Okay, right? And that theory is known as the Khosla independent. Okay, what is this? Just a minute. Khosla method of independent variables, right? Khosla method of the independent variables, right? And in that, you see these methods, right? They consider the 4 configurations, right? 4 configuration means you have, this is the horizontal floor and the sheet pile in the downstream, right? Okay, this is the one. Second one is you have the horizontal floor and the sheet pile in the upstream. I mean, the flow direction is this. Flow direction is this. So you have the sheet pile in the downstream here. Here the sheet pile in the upstream. The third one Third one was, okay, let us say we are not providing the horizontal floor having the negligible thickness. You see, this horizontal floor is having negligible thickness, no thickness at all, right? Then they solve for a thick floor. That one we are saying as a depressed floor. This one is for the depressed floor, which is having the thickness, right? So that is the third problem. The fourth problem they consider, okay, you have the horizontal floor, and you have the intermediate sheet pile. You have the intermediate sheet pile, this, right? And for this four condition, this 1, 2, 3, and 4, that is so called the method of the independent variables, they solve this Laplace equation and presented the results in the terms of the equation, right? And also graphically. So graphs are also available, right? You can see that graph, but nowadays working with the equation, that is very easy. Okay, so I discuss with you this, you see the equations, right? So now let us have a look on, okay, how the pressures that are to be computed for these four conditions. I mean, you have the sheet pile in the downstream, sheet pile in the upstream, depressed floor, and you have the intermediate piles. So after having discussion on that, then I will discuss with you how these are the things that will be used for solving the problems. Okay. And if you have any doubt anywhere, please let me know. To see here, I will take first the second problem where you have in the downstream, you have the sheet pile. And here this, you see, this is the horizontal floor. This is the horizontal floor, which is having the length of B. And here is the downstream sheet pile, which is having the depth of D. This is the point E, this is the point C, and this is the point D. Okay, right? And here we introduce the alpha. Alpha is equal to B by D. Okay, and then we introduce the lambda, which is equal to 1 plus under root 1 plus alpha square divided by 2. Okay, so once this lambda is known, we can get the phi E. Virtually this phi E or the phi D will get that one in the terms of percentage. Okay, we are getting that one in the percentage. It's not 100% here. I mean some percentage, right? So it is better right here the percentage. I mean this is the percentage of the total head. Okay, and for the this is 1 by pi cos inverse lambda minus 2 by lambda, and the phi d, that is equal to 1 by pi of this. Could you tell me what is the value of the C here? What is the value of the phi C? The equation is not given here. You see the question that I'm asking to you, this is some sort of a quiz, right? So everyone has to be prepared to answer the question and get the marks. The flow here, let me give you some idea. The flow that is going like this. This is the downstream, the flow is going like this. ये पानी ऐसे जा रही है. What is the value of the phi C?
0.
Yes, this is 0. I think you are Sahil?
No, sir, Anirudh.
Anirudh. Okay, that is 0. Now, if let us say this is known to us, could we get that one in the upstream? Here, this is E1, C1, and D1. And you rightly said for the phi C that is equal to 0, then phi E1 is equal to 100%. This is the phi E1. because our flow that is going like this. Okay, E1 is the entry point, so that is having 100%. I mean, there is no any dissipation of the energy. Okay, and then phi C1 is 100 minus phi E, and phi D is 100 minus phi D. So for getting this E1 and D1, we have to compute this one first, and then we have to get it, right? It is clear? Means that the flow is in this direction, and then we are getting this one. So whatever the potential that we are getting there, if you take 100 minus that, we'll get the phi C1 and phi D1. Okay. Now the next one is of the depressed floor. So this one you can say this is B, and the thickness of this floor is D, right? And what is the phi D dash? I mean, what would be the phi D dash? That equation is this, right? And phi D1 dash, that equation is this. So you can use this equation. Okay. And for the intermediate pile, where you have this is the horizontal floor, and this one is this, I mean, in between this upstream, downstream sheet pile, right? Okay, we have the point E, C, and D. For that, we have to compute alpha 1, B1 by D. This is B1 by D, and alpha 2, that is B2 by D. B2 is this, right? And then you have to compute alpha 1 and alpha and alpha 1, and you can compute this. And I think such equation may be used, right, to calculate the upstream or downstream sheet pile equations also, because that are the special case of the intermediate pile. Okay, the downstream sheet pile means your B2 is equal to 0. Upstream sheet pile means B1 is equal to 0. Am I right?
Sir, from which point do we take the B1 or B2? Means up to which point?
You see, this let me explain here. This is your I discussed with you this method of independent variables. Here, this is the horizontal floor, and this horizontal floor is having negligible thickness, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And this one is a sheet pile. So your
Yes.
B in this case is here to here, right? And this B1 here is, since this is not having any thickness, so whether you are taking a center line or the edge of that remains to be same. Okay, right? That is
Yes.
the B1 and B2. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now let us look at our problem. Our problem is like this. Now we have to understand this. Let me redraw a sketch of a section of a structure. That is like this. Is going like this. Then we have the glacis is like this. And let us put some thickness also. Some thickness. This may go like this also. So this is the upstream. This is the upstream surface. There is the pond level, water level here. Okay. And we have the sheet pile in the downstream and in the upstream, maybe the intermediate sheet pile also. Okay. And here we are interested to know below this structure at the different points, right? How much will be the pressure, right? Now, the Khosla methods that we have discussed so far, and that Khosla method means here the method of the independent variables. Okay, whether that will provide us the solution of this practical section where this is having a thickness, this is not horizontal, okay, this is not independent. See here, the upstream sheet pile is here. This is the upstream sheet pile. This is the upstream sheet pile. Just one. Let me draw. You see a intermediate pile also. Okay, so this is the upstream sheet pile. This is the intermediate sheet pile. And this one is a downstream sheet. Now, if we'll see the method of independent variables of the Khosla, then the floor there was a horizontal floor, negligible thickness. Here we don't have the horizontal floor in totality. In some part we have the horizontal floor, some part we have the inclined surface. Right? I think you will be agree with my point. Second, the floor thickness is not negligible. We have the floor thickness. Third one is, right, these sheet piles are not independent. Means that we have the sheet pile upstream, we have intermediate, we have the downstream sheet piles, right? So I mean, there may be some, you see the interference effect of this one pile to the second pile, right? Okay, right? And these are the things that is not being considered by the Khosla. And the most important is in totality, this problem directly can't be solved by the Khosla. Reason behind that one is the Khosla come out with the solution कि okay, you have a horizontal floor, downstream sheet pile, or horizontal floor, upstream sheet pile, or horizontal floor, or intermediate sheet pile. Then how will solve this problem? That is the point. We have to use this method. Okay, but how we have to solve it? That is the point. Could you suggest me? देखिए, ये तो क्लियर है कि आपको खोसला से करना है, लेकिन इसको टेकअप कैसे करेंगे? क्योंकि खोसला मेथड में मैं आपको बताया था कि वो जो मेथड ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स हैं, फ्लोर थिकनेस जीरो निग्लिजिबल है, यहाँ पे फ्लोर थिकनेस है, हॉरिजॉन्टल फ्लोर है, यहाँ पे इंक्लाइंड फ्लोर है, राइट? वहां पे शीट पाइल इंडिपेंडेंट्स है, यहाँ पे इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं है, राइट? तो इस प्रॉब्लम को कैसे सॉल्व करें? Any idea, please? Any guess? ये सब चीजें समझने की हैं, अगर इसमें आप लोग जवाब नहीं देंगे तो बड़ा मुश्किल होगा. Any response from your side? अगर रिस्पॉन्स नहीं है तो मेरी आवाज कम से कम सुन रहे हैं आप?
यस सर.
हाँ, तो अगर आप मेरी आवाज सुन रहे हैं तो सबसे पहले इसमें हमें ये करना होगा कि जो थिकनेस है ना, उस थिकनेस को खत्म करनी होगी. हमें इसको नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस पे लाना होगा. तो नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस में लाने के लिए अक्सर जब जो स्ट्रक्चर्स होती हैं उसका जो अपर प्रोफाइल होता है वो आपका सरफेस फ्लो के हिसाब से वो फिक्स की जाती है. ठीक है, तो मेरा अपर प्रोफाइल लगभग इसका फिक्स्ड है. तो मैं सबसे पहले इसकी थिकनेस को खत्म करूंगा, राइट? यानी हमने ये एज्यूम कर लिया यहाँ पे कि ये जो है नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस का है. तो नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस का करने की वजह से तो मेरी लाइन ये हो जाएगी. अब आप देख लीजिए, ये लाइन हो गई. मैं इसको डिफरेंट कलर से कर दूं. अब आप समझिए कि ये स्ट्रक्चर जो है ये सिर्फ इस लाइन का है, इस लाइन का स्ट्रक्चर, राइट? ओके, तो दैट रिड्यूस टू ए लाइन। और इस लाइन में यानी जब आप इसको कॉपी करें, है ना, ये इसको जो है अब अलग से निकालें, मेरे ख्याल से हो जाता होगा। ये मैंने कॉपी कर दिया है, बल्कि हटा ही दिया है, ठीक है। तो ये जो हमारी लाइन आ गई इसकी, ये आपको लाइन जो है, दिस इज नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस, राइट? ओके, फिर मैं इसको इसी पोजीशन पे लेके आ जाता हूं। तो उसके बाद जो है आपका जो अप स्ट्रीम शीट पाइल है, दैट विल गो अप टू दिस पॉइंट, ये ऊपर तक जाएगी, ये आपको यहां तक जाएगी, ये आपकी लाइन डायग्राम होगी, ये लाइन डायग्राम होगी। Okay, so we have assumed that, okay, there is no any thickness of this, right? तो आपका ये ऊपर नीचे की जो ये पार्ट है ये खत्म हो गया, ये खत्म हो, इसको हमने रिमूव कर, ये रिमूव कर, राइट? ओके, लेकिन अभी भी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं, अभी भी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व क्यों नहीं हुई? कि एक तो ये हॉरिजॉन्टल नहीं है और दूसरा ये है कि इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं, राइट? तो हम इसमें एक चीज और एज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि ये हॉरिजॉन्टल है, राइट? यानी ये जो पार्ट है ये आपकी हॉरिजॉन्टल सरफेस, राइट? यानी अब इसको मैं जब यहां पे ड्रॉ करूं तो दिस इज नाउ हॉरिजॉन्टल, दिस इज द डाउनस्ट्रीम शीट पाइल, दिस इज द इंटरमीडिएट शीट पाइल एंड दिस इज द अपस्ट्रीम शीट, ओके, राइट? दिस इज द थर्ड सेकंड, यू सी द assumption here. Now coming to the third assumption, चूंकि अभी भी हम इसको सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते, okay, so what we'll do here is we break this into three part, okay? जैसे मान लीजिए कि मैं ये डिस्टेंसेस पहले लिख दूं यहाँ पे कि ये डिस्टेंस मेरी यहां से यहां तक B1 है, यहां तक डिस्टेंस जो है B2 है, और ये टोटल डिस्टेंस जो है आपकी B है, राइट? और इसकी जो थिकनेस है, इसकी थिकनेस सॉरी डेप्थ जो है ये D1 है, इसकी डेप्थ जो है D2 है, और इसकी डेप्थ जो है D3 है। क्योंकि ये नेग्लिजिबल है तो नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस है तो ये पूरी हो जाएगी, राइट? तो थर्ड फेज में हम क्या करेंगे, इसको हमने ब्रेक कर दिया, ब्रेक करके जो हमारा सरफेस यूं आ रहा था, ऐसे जो सरफेस आ रही थी, राइट, जहां पे एक ये था, एक यहां था, एक ये था, अब ये दिस विल बी ब्रोकन इनटू थ्री पार्ट, ओके? तो पहला क्या होगा, पहला ये हो जाएगा दिस एंड डाउन स्ट्रीम शीट पाइल, यानी ये D3 और ये B होगा। दूसरा क्या हो गया, अप स्ट्रीम, ये अप स्ट्रीम, दिस इज D1 एंड दिस इज B, राइट? तो दिस इज 1, दिस इज 2 एंड तीसरा कौन सा हो जाएगा, हॉरिजॉन्टल फ्लोर, एंड दिस इज B2, ओके, राइट? और तीनों को जब हम जोड़ देंगे, तीनों को जब हम जोड़ देंगे तो ये हमारा आ जाएगा इस, राइट? ओके, तो प्रॉब्लम दैट विल बी अप्रोच लाइक दिस। Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
सर ये
लेकिन
जोड़ देंगे मतलब कैसे?
मैंने जब हमने तीनों को क्लब कर दिया तो मेरा ये आ गया ना।
हाँ सर, मतलब इक्वेशन में क्या चेंजेस आ गए?
नहीं, इक्वेशन में देखिए, इक्वेशन में हमने इसको, ये वाला जो पार्ट था ये था, इसको हमने तीन हिस्सों में इसको ब्रेक कर लिया, मैंने तीन हिस्सों में इसको डिवाइड कर दिया, राइट? ओके, एक वाला ये है फर्स्ट, ये दूसरा और ये तीसरा, राइट?
यस सर।
तो ये 1 2 3 जोड़ करके ही तो ये फाइनल बनाना हमारा,
हाँ,
राइट?
यस सर।
तो ये अब जो है, जो आपने ये वाला जो फर्स्ट वाली जो प्रॉब्लम है, तो ये D3 एंड B इसकी लेंथ है, B लेंथ है और D3 डाउनस्ट्रीम की शीट पाइल है ना?
यस।
तो अब आप जो है इन पॉइंट्स पे, एक चीज और मैं बता दूं कि ये खोसला मेथड से आप सिर्फ की पॉइंट्स पे ही प्रेशर निकालेंगे, दूसरे पॉइंट्स पे आपको इंटरपोलेट करना पड़ेगा। तो अब ये बताइए कि यहाँ पे यहाँ पे और यहाँ पे प्रेशर मालूम हो जाएगा हमें।
यस सर।
उसी तरीके से ये अप स्ट्रीम वाले में यहाँ पे और यहाँ पे और यहाँ पे प्रेशर मालूम हो जाएगा।
यस यस सर।
उसी तरह से यहाँ पे जो इक्वेशंस हैं उनको अप्लाई कीजिए और ये मालूम हो गए। अब जब हम इसको यहाँ पे लेके आता हूं तो मुझे ये पॉइंट ये पॉइंट ये पॉइंट ये पॉइंट ये पॉइंट ये पॉइंट यहाँ पे प्रेशर हमें मालूम होगा, राइट। लेकिन
ओके सर।
ये जो प्रेशर मालूम हुए इसमें 3 एजम्पशंस रहे। 3 एजम्पशंस कौन से रहे? एक तो हमने फ्लोर को हॉरिजॉन्टल कर दिया था, राइट। दूसरा हमने जो फ्लोर था उसकी थिकनेस जो है नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस कर दी थी। और तीसरा ये था कि ये शीट पाइल इंडिपेंडेंट थी, यानी उनका इंटरफेरेंस जो है वो हमने उसको नील कर दिया था। तो इंटरफेरेंस इफेक्ट जो है, ये इंटरफेरेंस जो है हमने नील कर दिया था, राइट। हमने कहा था कि कोई इंटरफेरेंस नहीं हो। तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जो हमने प्रेशर्स यहाँ पे निकाले हैं, ये प्रेशर जो है हमें करेक्ट करने पड़ेंगे। इंटरफेरेंस के लिए करेक्ट करनी पड़ेगी, जो हमने एज्यूम किया। जो थिकनेस है उसके लिए, नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस है ना, इसके लिए करेक्ट करना पड़ेगा। और फिर जो है ये सरफेस जो है हमने माना था कि हॉरिजॉन्टल है लेकिन ये स्लोपिंग है, तो उसके लिए हमें करेक्ट करना पड़ेगा। तो खोसला एंड हिज टीम come out 3 corrections. One is the thickness correction, second one is the interference correction, and third one is the slope corrections, right? Okay, to solve this practical problem. So I hope you might have understood this. तो पहले हम इसको लाइन डायग्राम में चेंज करेंगे, उसके बाद उसको ब्रेक करेंगे। ब्रेक करके खोसला इंडिपेंडेंट थ्योरी जो भी है उससे हम इसके प्रेशर्स को निकालेंगे। जब प्रेशर्स हमारे निकल जाएंगे फिर हम जो है ये 3 करेक्शंस को अप्लाई करेंगे, जो मैंने स्लाइड में आप लोगों को पढ़ने के लिए जो है हमने डाल दिया है। ये 3 करेक्शंस है जो मैंने आपको बताया था। म्यूचुअल इंटरफेरेंस करेक्शन यानी इंटरफेरेंस का, थिकनेस का करेक्शन एंड स्लोप का करेक्शन। जो हमने एज्यूम किया था कि भाई ये कोई इंटरफेरेंस नहीं होगी, कोई फ्लोर थिकनेस नहीं है और कोई जो है स्लोप नहीं है, राइट। ओके, now coming to the time is now over. We'll discuss tomorrow, right, about these corrections. ठीक है, कल हम बात करेंगे इन करेक्शंस के सिलसिले में। ओके, थैंक यू।